Run your day with Runday.ai.
David, hello. Happy Wednesday. How are you today?
Good, Sanjay. How are you?
It's a great day here at Runday where we build a brand ambassador to help businesses grow. I am calling from Fort Lauderdale and I'll be in Atlanta next week as well as Vegas and the Hamptons this month. How about yourself? Where are you calling from?
We are in Vegas, so hopefully we'll maybe get to see you when you're here.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, tell us more about the brand and kind of how you got into this one.
Sure. Capriotti's has been around, for about 50 years now. Actually celebrating our 50th anniversary this year.
And congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah, kind of an overnight success that's taken decades to grow. About 10 years ago, a really good friend of mine, a gentleman by the name of David Barr, who's one of the preeminent people in the franchise industry, restaurant industry, invested in Capriotti's and kind of brought me along to help grow the brand and build it. And that's what we've been doing for the last 10 years.
What was the thinking back then with so many brands and franchises out there? Where was the gap in the market?
Capriotti's is really a sort of a premium sandwich concept. So just a little bit about us. We tend to win best of awards wherever we go around the country. We're really well known for our cheesesteaks. Our roast beef is literally Snake River Farms American Wagyu roast beef. Our turkey is, we roast whole butterball turkeys in every restaurant every night. We're the world's largest buyer of whole butterball turkeys. So it's just a super premium product that you really can't get anyplace else. It's not, just a sliced deli meat. It's the kind of food, the kind of products are just a little bit unique in the marketplace, and therefore our stores are premium price point. Certainly don't belong on every street corner in America, but we tend to do very high volumes and have had sort of a cult following for decades. And now as we're going national, obviously the brand's becoming much better known.
Sounds delicious. And you've worked in some other sandwich and food brands as well, correct?
Yeah, I've been in the restaurant space for a number of years since I was a kid, actually. Have grown other businesses, education and services, lots of stuff, but kind of have always come back to the restaurant space. I started as a franchisee, though, probably 30 years ago or more, 35 years ago, with Quiznos when there were 18 restaurants, and my partners and I became the largest franchisees, the largest area developers, and I became senior vice president of brand expansion. Then we grew that to 5,000 restaurants in 28 countries when the company was sold.
Were you there when they were doing the Sponge Monkeys commercials? That's one of my favorites of all time.
Unfortunately, yes.
Why do you say that? That was great.
It was very polarizing. So people that knew who the Sponge Monkeys were got it and liked it, and my parents were not amongst them, so I heard about it on a daily basis. But Quiznos was sort of known for being on the edge and trying to break through, and candidly, to go from 18 restaurants to 5,000 restaurants and under 20 years was unheard of. No one ever did that before. So a lot of it had to do with our willingness to take risks and do things that nobody had ever tried before.
What were the factors that really led to that kind of growth? Was it more the just operations, or did you see like these edgy commercials and things I mean, today I would imagine that kind of commercial would perform really well. I mean, you have to really, be almost controversial and kind of out of the box to get any attention at all these days. But back then that was something that just really shocked people. And to me, I thought it was great. A lot of my friends did, but I guess it was, as you said, kind of polarizing.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, first of all, we were toasting sandwiches, so it was a hot toasted sandwich, which was unique in the marketplace. You mentioned you're in Fort Lauderdale. Fred DeLuca, the founder of Subway, used to live down there, and I knew Fred, and he used to actually track the growth of Quiznos. So people inside the industry knew we had a unique product, knew we had a really strong management team. There are some just incredibly bright, talented people that I got to work with and for there, including the founder, Rick Shadden. And, it's just you get a great product, you get a great team, got a good strategy put together, and then you just execute and you run hard for a long time. And eventually you have a home run. So it was quite a ride, and I learned a lot and still have a lot of close friendships from those years.
Franchises like yours may be defining what is left of the American dream. The idea of, just working hard, going to a good college, working your way up, that doesn't exist the way it used to in the 20th century. And even a lot of options like, building a small business locally, there's a lot of challenges. So today, unless you can do something online, scale, leverage AI, it's hard to really achieve, even maybe not even the American dream, but just supporting a family. Franchise is one of the remaining avenues for people. And when I talk to young people, and I was at a family office event in Newport last week, and some of the speakers, they brought their kids, and one of the girls was 18, kind of thinking about starting her own business, and I kind of encourage her to like look at franchises. I mean, what brands do you like? I had been to the franchise expo. I saw some really amazing numbers with like she did Pilates and things. I asked her what she was into, and there was like a Pilates and yoga gym, and I think it was in Boca, and they had daycare for moms, and they were just crushing it in terms of the operational numbers. And it was one of the on a spreadsheet. I'm a data scientist, so on a spreadsheet, it was sort of the top of the list. And I don't know how to operate a business like that, but in the numbers perspective, it looked amazing. And so, I encourage her to look into things like that. Talk about franchising as I don't know if it's the new American dream, or it's kind of maybe one of the few avenues left, but people, young people can get SBA loans. They can, without having to, have a lot of capital of their own, find a good location, open a franchise, and do something that'll let them support a family and, a good lifestyle. Talk about, are you seeing that in your, with your owners? And, how can people, if they are open to this, how can they learn more about what might be a fit for them?
Yeah. First of all, I think you've already brought up a lot of really good points. And, franchising is candidly and has been for years a wealth building vehicle for people. I have friends that own 10 of this and 100 of that. And I know guys that own, well over 1,000 restaurants. And so whether you're just getting started or you've been doing it, and looking to expand your portfolio, it's I will just tell you, especially because of the technology integration required today and the the knowledge base you need in IT and finance and real estate and marketing and training and operations and all those things. Doing it on your own, starting a business on your own is really tough, and you don't have the scale to get, sort of the national agreements you need. Some of the advantages that we bring forward I mentioned we're the world's largest buyer of Butterball turkey. So obviously we've got a lot of scale, or our Snake River Farms American Wagyu roast beef, or our bakeries, but even our IT providers, all of our delivery service provider agreements and relationships, we get greatly advantaged rates or commission schedules and things like that. And those companies commit to us from a marketing standpoint, from a service standpoint. And some of the startups, some of these companies, we knew the founders. We've known the founders since they started years ago. Today, they're big IT companies and successful, but we can just pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, we need help, whether it's DoorDash or Olo. We know these guys personally, and we've known them for years. So franchising is definitely a good model. You also mentioned, what are you passionate about? You got to love what you're doing, and it's a real business, and it's hard work like any other business, and so you need to enjoy it. And one other thing I would say is, the company you go to work with, you need to make sure that your values align with their values, because there are going to be unexpected, bumps in the road. Obviously COVID, but supply chain interruptions and economic upheavals and wars and rumors of wars, all those things are going to happen. If you're aligned and you trust each other, in other words, and if that's there, you'll get through all those future issues, no problem. If you're not aligned and you don't trust each other, don't get into business in the first place. So, it is a great way to build wealth. And again, I know literally, I can't tell you how many people I know that have built really substantial wealth through franchising. some of it multi-generational.
As you guys target growing to 750 restaurants by 2032, and you just mentioned the values alignment, talk about some of the values that are aligned with your brand and some perhaps that may not be.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, passion. We just have a passion to be the best at what we do. We wake up every day wanting to be better. And obviously, that means innovating and testing, whether it be IT, products, services, processes, program. We're always trying to kind of get a little bit better, stay ahead. And people that get up and try to be a little bit better every day love working with us. People that don't like change and want the status quo, probably we're not a good fit for, right? So I say passion to be the best is number one. Number two is family. Capriotti's and Wings Zone both started as family businesses. Today, we are owned by what I would call very sophisticated family offices. And even the institutions that are invested, they're actually invested individually, not institutionally. So we like to know people. We like to have long-term relationships with people. We primarily, almost exclusively work with people that are going to be multi-unit operators. We're not looking for people to open one and be done. And so people that have a long-term vision, I say then, authenticity or genuineness is really important to us. We believe having real conversations with real people is that's where the genius lies. That's where you find out what's happening and figure out the solutions. And that's where the best ideas come from. So people that are looking for that, and then integrity, but not just the black and white side of integrity. From our standpoint, it means people that walk the talk. We are going to do our commitment as a company is we'll do everything we can to help you be successful. And we want people that do the same. They wake up every day and if they say they're going to do something, they do it. And then profitability for us is a little different. We define that as everyone wins. In order for us to win and reach that goal that you spoke about, first our franchise partners have to win. They have to be profitable. They have to, like what they're doing. They have to grow. That's number one. Our employees, we have people that have been with us for decades, either in the stores or here at our corporate support center. Again, we really value long-term relationships with people, but even our vendors like Butterball and Snake River Farms, we want to play win-win with all those guys and again, have long-term relationships with them. So that's how we think about business in general.
Talk more about your definition of integrity. I think when we say that word, a lot of people think it just means being a nice person and being kind or being a good person or trying to be a good person. But that's not really what it means. To me, at least. Tell me what you think it means.
Again, there's the black and white. You either have it or you don't. Like you just, But more importantly, it means if we say we're going to do something, we're going to do it regardless of what the obstacles or even, many times what the expense is. We have a franchise agreement, a contract that defines our relationship. But I can tell you, we go way, way above and beyond anything that's in the agreement all the time because we don't know what problems are going to come up. We don't know if they're going to start doing construction in front of your shop and shut off all the traffic and, hurt your business. What do we need to do to help you through that time? Back during COVID, when lots of other restaurant companies were shutting down and you couldn't get in them, we leaned in and we fronted a bunch of advertising dollars for all of our franchise partners that enabled them to reopen and advertise when everybody else was pulling out of the market. And so we ended up for a number of years being greatly advantaged because other brands were pulling back and shutting down and we were leaning in, helping our franchisees, through that time, providing the capital to do that. And therefore we had record growth, record revenues, and record profits. So those are the kind of just, I guess, real world things, during supply chain challenges, after COVID, there were supply chain issues. We went out and spent millions of dollars in secured equipment and product just to make sure we had it, available for our franchisees and they weren't hurt by those issues. And those kind of things happen all the time. And so we're just always going to lean in and do the right thing.
You mentioned earlier that what aligns with your values is someone who's, embracing change. let's talk about it from in this age of AI we're entering. What are some of the changes that you think the restaurant world in general, especially your brand, is going to embrace? Do we see a world where there's, almost no human contact in some cases? Is it going to be more polarizing where some brands are going to focus on the human connection, others are going to be, tablets and apps? And, I think even, apps will go away and you're just going to, use your an MCP server, and just talk to your, whether it's ChatGPT or Grok or Gemini or Perplexity. You'll just say, "Hey, I want a sandwich with this," and it'll just get ordered, and you can pick it up or it gets delivered. Do you see both scenarios? Because I think that we'll have that, of course. I think that kind of interface will replace, going to I just ordered some Indian wings and food from Uber Eats, but I would have preferred to just use my Grok to do that, right? So I think there's room for that. But I think in terms of going to a restaurant, I miss the days when the waiter would really check on you, to see, especially for me, when I got to leave to do another podcast and like I'm done eating and I just need my check. So I think we need both, but
Yeah.
what are you guys seeing and, anticipating the restaurant experience will be like in the future?
Well, we've always wanted to be sort of on the forward edge from a technology standpoint. So our president, Jason, has got his degrees in computer science, mathematics, MBA. Our CEO, Ashley, has advanced degrees in finance and is very active in commercial real estate. I've obviously been doing this for a long time. So I think, we want to be on the forward edge of innovation in every aspect of our business because especially today, the rate of acceleration or the pace of innovation is rapidly increasing. So what used to take 10 years to happen now takes 2 years. So we always are going to be on the forward edge. So we were testing robotics probably 6 years ago, 7 years ago, and we had very
Wow.
active robotics tests going on, and worked very closely and had a partnership with one of the largest robotic companies in the restaurant space. And so we think it's all coming, but that being said, it needs to be sort of a hospitality enabled technology, roadmap because it still is about customer interaction. The only thing I think, the only difference is consumers want to have it much more seamless, much easier. And you
Do you
kind
think
of
it's
need to be on.
generational? Do you think someone like me who's a Gen X wants to, talk to somebody and have a more human engagement, and
I
then
think
Gen Z just wants to order on a tablet or on their own phone? Is it like that, or do you think there's more nuance to it?
a little bit like that, but also different people or the same person on different occasions wants to
Okay.
experience you differently. Sometimes they want to come in and sit down and eat lunch in one of our restaurants, or our restaurants have to be comfortable and feel good and, like just be warm and inviting and talk, they need to be on brand and kind of speak to who we are. And other times they don't want to talk to anybody. They're just, as you said, they just want to, whether it's having a lunch catered at the office for a bunch of people, or they just want to go online, order what they always order, have it be seamless, have the payments set up, So I think it's going to be omni-channel. I think technology will enable that. Now, that being said, behind the scenes, there will be more automation. There will be a lot more AI connecting that automation with autonomous vehicles and all the other stuff that's out there. So, it's it's all going to be it's all going to happen, and the reality is it's up to the brand to figure out how does it work for your brand. How do our customers want to engage with us, and that will differ from brand to brand a little bit as well.
So you guys are embracing that in robotics. You mentioned robotics. What are some other sort of perhaps more bleeding edge technologies that you guys are embracing or predicting?
Well, certainly on the marketing side, that's where we've seen it show up the most. Our ability to sort of segment customers and know, okay, Sanjay, you come in and you always order this, and
Mm-hmm.
this is your typical order. So that when you come back, so we can just say, hey, do you want your usual? Do you want it to, you don't want to have to put all that information in the same time. And so making it really super convenient to you, whereas somebody that's coming in for the first time, we want to know that's their first time. And we actually want to be able to kind of plan their journey through our menu. We want to make sure that the first 3 or 4 times they come in, they get the sandwiches that we know have the highest likelihood of bringing them back in that particular market, even in that particular store. So we know store by store, what are the highest sellers, what are the favorites for that store or that trade area. So a lot of marketing, a lot of consumer insights, a lot of customer feedback. So real time knowing what's going on in our stores, a lot of operational programs around improving quality of operations and training, doing all those kind of things. I mean, we're playing with Google glasses right now, as they're becoming a little more affordable and effective, so that we can
Yeah, the
train
new ones are
people
quite
real.
interesting.
Yeah, and we can literally train people. We can sit here in Vegas, watch them working the grill in Memphis, and be able to coach them
Oh,
on,
I
hey,
hadn't
you're
even
doing this or
considered that
doing
use
that.
case. That's amazing. Well,
Yeah,
I
so
got your I got your website up, and I'm sure I'm not the only one getting hungry from the promo video you have, and some of the audience may already be ordering some of your
yeah,
sandwiches. If they want to, go not just order the food, but if they want to think about opening up a franchise, what's the best way to think about doing that? Just go to the franchising on your website.
yeah, or you can just go to own@capriottis.com. We have a website dedicated just to providing all that information. There's a tremendous amount of information on startup costs and process and introductions to franchisees and all the legal stuff you want to know, all the financial stuff you want to know about us. And so we get about 7 or 8,000 inquiries a year. And we move forward with about a half a percentage of those people. So, for us, it's about finding people that are passionate about what we're doing in our business and being successful in it. And obviously, it's got to be a good fit for them. So, we just try and be as transparent as we can, telling you who we are and how we do business. And again, about our value system and introducing people to our existing franchise owners, all of whom are multi unit operators, and just kind of taking them through the process.
Well, if you're of high integrity, intend to be a multi-unit operator, and love sandwiches and the brand and the culture, check out the franchising opportunity.
Yep. Yep. I'd love to talk to you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. It's always fun to do this.